Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons, and we're going to ask the question, we're going to talk about the question, which matters more, words or actions, right? Because I've said two different things on this channel. I've said, hey, listen to, listen, if you want to know the truth, listen to your players' actions, don't listen to their words, right? But then I've said, hey, words are more important than actions. I've said two different things in two different videos, right? So first of all, that and people are like, hey, Scott, you said this here and you said that there. Totally valid. I get it. I need to explain when I'm saying one thing in this video and another thing in this video. So sometimes that happens just based purely off of timing, right? Like I'll say a thing in one video, the world moves forward, things change, and then I'm saying the opposite in another video because my opinion has changed based on the facts on the ground, which have changed. That happens, right? That is definitely a very real thing that definitely really happens, right? So that might be one reason why my opinion would change. Sometimes it's a profundity issue. Like my entire life is an attempt to move forward in truth and wisdom, right? Now, I use the Holy Bible to do that first, and second, I use Dungeons and Dragons, right? So one, God answers God and the Bible answer a vast majority of my questions. But there are a lot of questions that God ain't going to have an opinion on, right? Like I'm convinced God does not care if you like chocolate cake or strawberry cake, right? But so there are questions that only a sacred source can answer, and then there are questions that only a secular source can answer, right? Like I don't think the Bible it is concerned with kingdom issues, right? Things that are worldly, I won't say a whole lot about it often, right? But I have secular questions, right? And I use Dungeons and Dragons to explore humanity, right? Especially where I think the word is like, where the Holy Bible really doesn't have anything to say significant on that thing, right? Or they're neutral, right? So this is a big question, right? And so I have done videos where I said, listen to a player. People's like, oh, talk to your players. I am against talking to your players to find the truth about your game. And the reason why is the vast majority of players will smile and nod and tell you a line because they don't want to upset you, right? Or they want to preserve their seat at the table for a reason you don't know, right? They could care. Some people could care less about Dungeons and Dragons, but they care deeply about sitting next to the person they're sitting next to for 4 hours a week, right? And there's 100 ways why you're not going to get a straight answer from your players often, right? I had this situation recently where my player's like, I'm going to run this campaign, 4 to 6 weeks from now, and I'm going to use this system, right? And I was like, those words came out of his mouth, but he hasn't showed up for a game in a month. Which is true? Is he going to run that game? And I got players at my table who are reacting to the words and they're like, hey, can I roll my hit points? And I'm like, you don't need to roll your hit points, man. The words came out, but the actions show the truth, right? So here's the situation where you need to listen to the actions, right? But then I was like, I've seen situations like Elon Musk. That guy don't do nothing, right? You don't lift a thing, right? All he does is talk, and stuff happens, right? You don't watch Elon Musk for his actions. You listen to his words, right? Why? What is the difference? When are words more important than actions? So I'll explain it to you right now, right? So basically, this is all explained through Dungeons and Dragons, right? So let's talk about the Iceman Stalwart, okay? The Iceman Stalwart is out of the Baldur's Gate set, and the Iceman Stalwart is a tiefling warrior, and he is a creature, okay? Now, so let's say we have the Iceman. So let's say your player character is in a tavern, okay? And they get into a fight with another tavern goer, right? And that tavern goer says something incredibly insulting to the point where you're going to attack them, right? You just cannot take the dishonor. It's too much, right? So at that point, right, you're like, okay, I'm going to attack this person, right? Well, two people stand up from their benches 10 feet away from you, two different tavern tables. To your right is the Iceman Stalwart, right? And you can see the Iceman Stalwart there. They're a tiefling warrior, and they're a creature, right? From the Baldur's Gate set. From the Adventures in the Forgotten Realms set, oh, hey, check it out. There's Dritsto Worden. He's an elf ranger, right? And he's not a creature. He is a legendary creature, right? And the Iceman Stalwart says they both say in unison. They say, you go for you put your hand another inch toward that dagger, and you'll be drawing back a stump, right? Now with the Iceman Stalwart, do those words matter? Maybe, right? Like if he can move fast enough, if he can move fast enough, and if he can put his blade where he intends to, right? But he's an Iceman Stalwart. He's a type. He's not the instance, right? He's a creature. He's not a legendary creature, right? When Drista Orton says, if you move your hand 1 inch closer to that dagger, you're going to be drawing back a stump. He has the history for it, right? Like, this dude has slain, like, orc kings, right? If he says that your hand is going to be falling off if you move that hand another inch toward your dagger, that is going to prompt you to take the action to halt, right? Whereas the Iceman Stalwart, you could try your luck, right? Maybe he's fast enough. Maybe he can put his blade where he wants. But you're still working. You know he's fast enough, and you know he can put his blade where he wants, right? So that is the answer. When you have a human being in front of you, one of your players, are they a creature or are they a legendary creature? Do their words echo actions? And that's the difference. A legendary creature's words echo action, right? And Elon Musk is a legendary creature. He ain't a creature, right? And so that's what you have to decide. So as you go through life, right, remember the Dungeons and Dragons lesson from Adventures in Forgotten Realms and from the Baldur's Gate set, right? So the question is, are you dealing with a creature? Are you dealing with a legendary creature? If you're dealing with a creature, listen to the actions, ignore the words. If you're dealing with a legendary creature, the words are more important than their actions, because their words will echo actions from everyone in the room and far beyond. That is the answer. Dungeons and Dragons answers all of our IRL questions that are not answered by higher sources. That is my humble opinion. I'm ready to hear yours. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.